The normal retina is comprised of layers. The names of the layers starting from the inner vitreal side are nerve fiber layer, ganglion cells layer, inner plexiform layer, inner nuclear layer, outer plexiform layer, outer nuclear layer, external limiting membrane, ellipsoid zone. Myopic traction maculopathy represents a traction or deformation of the macula with stretching of the retinal layers in eyes affected by pathologic myopia and posterior staphyloma. Posterior staphyloma is the ectasia of the posterior scleral wall. The choroid responds to the staphyloma progression with thinning and atrophy, and finally with neovascularization. The retina responds with stretching, holes formation, and finally detachment. MTM is a slowly evolving disease. MTM can evolve from stage 1 to stage 4 or from stage 8 to stage C. When looking at the OCT of a patient with MTM, identifying the stage is easy. Look at the retina layers and select stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Then look at the inner fovea and select stage A, B, C. The evolution of MTM has been published The video will show the evolution of an eye from a normal round shape and axial length to high myopic eye with an oval shape and long axial length. The staphyloma can affect different part of the eye wall, but we will focus on the posterior staphyloma that induces elongation in the axial length from the cornea to the macula. The scene is focused on stage 1A, which shows an initial schisis with an intact fovea. Stage 1 indicates that the schisis affects the inner layers or inner and outer layers. In stage A, the inner fovea is intact. The scene is focused on stage 2A, which shows a schisis in the deeper outer layers with an intact fovea. Stage 2 indicates that the schisis affects the outer layers. In stage A, the inner fovea is intact. The scene is focused on stage 3A, which shows a combination of macular schisis and foveal detachment with an intact fovea. Stage 3 indicates a combination of schisis and foveal detachment. In stage A, the inner fovea is intact. The scene is focused on stage 4A, which shows a macular detachment with an intact fovea. Stage 4 indicates that the retina is detached. In stage A, the inner fovea is intact. The scene is focused on stage 1B, which shows an initial schisis with an inner lamellar macular hole. Stage 1 indicates that the schisis affects the inner layers or inner and outer layers. In stage B, the inner fovea is partially split. The scene is focused on stage 2B, which shows a schisis in the deeper outer layers with an inner lamellar macular hole. Stage 2 indicates that the schisis affects the outer layers. In stage B, the inner fovea is partially split. The scene is focused on stage 3B, which shows a combination of macular schisis and foveal detachment with an inner lamellar macular hole. Stage 3 indicates a combination of schisis and foveal detachment. In stage B, the inner fovea is partially split. The scene is focused on stage 4B, which shows a macular detachment with an inner lamellar macular hole. Stage 4 indicates that the retina is detached. In stage B, the inner fovea is partially split. The scene is focused on stage 1C, which shows an initial schisis with a full-thickness macular hole. Stage 1 indicates that the schisis affects the inner layers or inner and outer layers. In stage C, the inner fovea is totally split. The scene is focused on stage 2C, which shows a schisis in the deeper outer layers within full-thickness macular hole. Stage 2 indicates that the schisis affects the outer layers. In stage C, the inner fovea is totally split. The scene is focused on stage 3C, which shows a combination of macular schisis and foveal detachment with a full-thickness macular hole. Stage 3 indicates a combination of schisis and foveal detachment. In stage C, the inner fovea is totally split. The scene is focused on stage 4C, which shows immacular detachment with a full-thickness macular hole. Stage 4 indicates that the retina is detached. In stage C, the inner fovea is totally split. We now present the NPB, a new design of macular buckle to treat schisis and detachment. The main indications of the NPB are MTM in stages 2AC, 3AC, 4AC. It is important to highlight that in order to close a lamella or full-thickness macular hole, stages B and stages C, it is necessary to perform vitrectomy and other maneuvers on the holes. Vitrectomy can be added as a second step after macular buckle and only if and when considered necessary at the surgeon's discretion. This is how the inner side of the NPB appears. The NPB is made of two parts, the arm and the head. The arm serves to suture the NPB to the eye wall, while the head serves to buckle the sclera. The purposes of the loading device are to facilitate the insertion of the NPB, to stabilize the NPB while suturing, to check the final position of the NPB. The NPB and the NPB loading device are aligned to prepare the connection. The NPB and the NPB loading device are connected. Two radial cuts are applied on the conjunctiva and tenon in the supranasal and infratemporal quadrant. The superior and temporal rectus muscles isolated with threads. 3 marks are applied. 1. At the limbus at 10.30 for the right eye and at 0.30 for the left eye. 2. Superior suture. 3. Temporal suture. The distance limbus needle is shown. The superior and temporal distance limbus needle is shown. The superior suture, we suggest non-absorbable suture 6.0 T-cron with spatulated needle. The NPB connected to the loading device is inserted into the supratemporal quadrant. One hand holds the loading device, while the other hand pushes the head of the NPB with the thumb into the retrobal bar space. A flat contact lens is applied on the clean cornea. The fundus is checked through the microscope and the flat lens. Subsequently, a temporal suture will be performed. The centration of the NPB is verified while moving the NPB loading device. NPB loading device connected to the NPB. The loading device is gently disconnected from the NPB by elevating and retracting movements.